Scott.
Trevor.
I'm Andrew. And for our persuasive presentation today, we'll be talking about why we think professional athletes deserve the pay they get. So this topic is full of debate, which most people usually make the same exact argument. Athletes are overpaid. The money they get can be used for better things. And shouldn't police, teachers, and doctors be paid more? My personal opinion to that is I just think people are just jealous. So, sports teams are unquestionably big business. They generate billions of dollars acting as a free market enterprise. This is called capitalism. The leagues are generating their own money, not yours. Athletes are the ones who make the money, and they're paid according to what they're worth to the sports industry. For example, LeBron James, since joining the Heat in 2010, has helped the team raise over $200 million, and within that time frame playing for that team, he received $50 million from them, which I think is fair. So there are many factors we should consider before judging athletes. Athletes who made it to the professional level have spent their whole lives to get where they are. Athletes grow up with everything that happens to their sport, spending countless hours practicing their whole lives. Usually, a lot of them come from nothing. True personal story, I have a friend by the name of Jordan Todman, who I went to high school with. He grew up in a pretty crappy environment, around drugs, gangs, violence, and things like that. But he had a passion for football and a talent for it. He ended up going to UConn and eventually ended up getting drafted as a running back for the Carolina Panthers. Majority of people who play at the collegiate level and want to pursue professional sports career don't make it. At the college level, they have to balance school, sports, and family. They have to attend mandatory practices, always traveling. This actually, most of the time, doesn't even give them time to actually study and focus on the academics. So again, if they don't make it to the professional level, they're kind of screwed. They provide entertainment to millions of people at the highest level of athletic talent. So basically, the entertainers, just like movie stars. They receive payment from the industry, from ticket sales to merchandise, advertisements, and the talent required to participate is rare and always in high demand. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, there are over 9,380 professional athletes in spectator sports, and you have a 0.00565% chance of becoming one. So you're better, probably have more luck winning the lottery or something. Professional athletes make what they do because of us. We pay to watch them play. Many boys and girls dream of playing sports in college, but out of the 8 million students participating in high school athletics, only about 460,000 of them will compete at NCAA schools, and only a fraction of them will make it to the professional leagues. So the NCAA was kind enough to make a bunch of charts showing statistics of the scarcity of professional athletes, and we chose what we think is the top 4 sports in the U.S. So firstly, for football, there are roughly 1 million high school students. 6.5% of them will play in college, and only 1.6% of college players will get drafted by the NFL. For men's basketball, there are about 500,000 high school players. 3.4% of them will play in college, and 1.2% of college players will get drafted by the NBA. For hockey, there's about 35,000 high school players. 11.2% of them will play in college, and 6.8% of them will get drafted by the NHL. And lastly, baseball, there are about 500,000 high school students. 6.9% of them will play in college, and only 8.6% of them will get drafted by the MLB.
The NBA has an average career length of 4.8 years. They average out at the highest amount of money of $24.7 million. Next up would be MLB, who on average has older players, and they average out for 5.6 years for your career length and make $13.2 million by the end of their career. After that's the NHL. They have an average career length of 5.5 years and average out $13.2 million. And lastly is the NFL, who lasts the shortest of 3.5 years and the smallest amount of money of only $6.7 million. That's compared to the national household income at $51,000, where the average American works 40 hours a week from ages 20 to 65. Life as an athlete is very busy. I mean, they spend between 4 to 7 months in season, and you have to count the working out and count constant practicing the off season. They also have a lot of expectations on them from their coaches and players to perform well in the field. Also from their endorsers, who want them to perform as best as they can to make their product look good. So, and even though it's illegal, a lot of people do bet on sports. So some people may be constantly almost putting their next day's dinner on the line. I mean, sports. And they also have to maintain a positive image. Because a lot of those kids do look up to them. I don't want people to start following their bad ways. And they're also constantly traveling throughout the year, either from just promoting products or just for playing the game. The NHL is worth $3.7 billion. Next up would be the MLB, it's only worth $8 billion. The average NFL team is worth $1.43 billion. It's kind of messed up if you think about it. The players should be getting more of a bigger cut. They're only getting paid $6.5 million in their full season, by the end of their career. And they only last 3.5 years because all the constant injuries and head injuries that they get. And top NBA teams average 1.1 billion.
Okay, so I'm going to be going over the top 4 teams in 4 major sports, their current value in comparison with the average salary they pay their players. In the NHL, we have Toronto Maple Leafs up top, worth $1.3 billion with an average salary of $13.2 million per player per year. The NBA, we have the Lakers on top, current value $2.6 billion, averaging $24.7 million per year. For the MLB, we have the Yankees on top, worth $3.2 billion, paying their players on average $17.9 million per year. And the NFL, the Cowboys on top, with $3.2 billion, paying on average $6.7 per year for athletes. So when you consider the amount that these athletes generate in revenue, it's not all that ridiculous that they are paid what they are paid, considering that without them, there would be no $3.2 billion businesses.
All right, next, the chart showing the prices at NFL Stadium. And it's basically showing how much teams charge for people to use their merchandise, concession, and parking, things like that. The top 2 teams for the NFL, they take the price from the Patriots and Jets. The Cleveland Browns and the San Diego Chargers are the top 2 teams for concession, with hot dogs being $6 and beer being $9. And the New Orleans Saints cost $30 for a hat to the merchandise. And finally, the Dallas Cowboys cost $75 to park there to watch the game. So you can see how much money the stadiums are bringing in with people buying their concessions and merchandise and things like that.
So some of the highest paid as well as the most popular athletes get paid money for endorsements from well-known companies. Some of these athletes include NBA star LeBron James. He has an estimated net worth of $270 million, and he has endorsement deals with Nike, Samsung, and McDonald's, and received $72 million. Another athlete is NHL star Sidney Crosby, who has an estimated net worth of $100 million, and has endorsement deals with Reebok, and receives $1.5 million for that. And also baseball star Derek Jeter, who has an endorsement deal with Nike and Gatorade, receives $9 million. And finally, NFL star Peyton Manning has a net worth of $115 million and has endorsement deals with Papa John's and DirecTV, and gets $15 million from that. And here's a video of an example.
I'll just give it a Alright, so in 8 words.
Okay. The reason why these endorsements are important is because the fans of the athletes will buy that product or support that company because that athlete is doing that because they want the fans to be just like them, and it helps the company increase.
In conclusion, from our research, we looked at arguments from both sides. It seemed like the arguments against athletes getting their high buy, or just like we said before, just formed off jealousy. I mean, the client said we should allocate the money towards like society, but he's like when they're making money off their input, so they really deserve the money. That was good. Any questions?
How do you guys feel about salary caps in sports? Like a player getting costs and market value?
What was the end word there? The cap's necessary because you don't want teams just buying their way into championships. Makes it more competitive, which is good because you don't want to shorten the list of successful teams because that's just taking money out of the league. You're just going to have a few teams worth a lot of money instead of, on average, I believe it's 30 teams, all worth billions. So I think that would be the reason to keep the cap.
Right, so like a player like LeBron James, that's like $24 million a year. There's like a wage ceiling, so he's not making as much as he could in the open market because of the salary cap.
I think we showed how much he makes just from his endorsement. I don't think LeBron James is exactly struggling, but I do understand what you're saying.
So I don't know if you actually researched this, but I remember you saying something about like them not having enough time to do schoolwork. Do you feel like colleges are like really lenient on athletes?
I think they actually take like advantage over them, especially like the NCAA and things like that. You know how much money they actually make? Like it's insane. With March Madness alone, things like that, like they profit like billions just in advertisement alone. They don't give back to the students at all.
So you say that they don't give back to their students,
No, not
but
really.
basically the people who are in Division I, they actually do get free everything in order to go into college. So obviously they get everything, free college education
Yeah.
on top of playing sports. So they should be grateful that they're playing sports instead of saying, oh hey, you need to get paid just because you're in college and you're really great.
That's not always the case though, because I believe it was Shabazz Napier on UConn. I mean, they just won a championship, and the kid didn't even have enough. All the money that kid's family had was put into sending him to that school, and on the weekends, he wasn't even being supported enough to eat on the weekends. So they are given a lot, but they could be given more, especially considering how much they generate. The tournament, with the brackets and all that, it's becoming $1 million business.
Makes more
It just
than
keeps
the
growing.
players.
So I believe there's room to do more for the college athletes, even though they are given a lot already.
Maybe one more. Someone who has an question. What do you guys find most interesting out of all the data and statistics?
I found it pretty interesting how much money like each NFL team is worth. I mean, 1.1 billion, I believe. That's insane. And considering their players, they don't get paid the least out of all the leagues, so it kind of shows.